Welcome to DEPMA. This is David Molinde. I'm a master's student at the University of Westminster. DEPMA is a distributed experimental protocol management application. It's a project by the European Commission. Nanoscimax is a European scientific research project in the field of nanomedicine, and they seek to use DEPMA application to manage their distributed experimental protocols they run. When a member of the consortium decides to conduct experiments, their first job is to create an experimental protocol. And an experimental protocol is a written procedural method for the design and implementation of the experiment. It specifies the pieces of equipment and materials to be used. So it needs to have an executive summary as well as the name of its creator and the date and time when it was created. So when an experimental protocol is available, any individual researcher or cross-lab experimental team of researchers can then go ahead and conduct one or more experiments based on the procedures of that protocol. The experimenters thus they need to ensure that they have access to the right equipment and quantities of materials they need to find. So if they don't, they need to find out which site stores them and place a request with these sites for a sample to be sent. When a site receives the request for samples, one of the scientists in operation there has to locate the equipment, the requested materials and organize for them to be sent to the requesting site. The samples for the requested materials hence are sampled in a high saturated package which is then posted to the site of the requesting experimenter. When all the preconditions are specified by the experimental protocol in place, the experimenters can then go ahead and execute the experimental procedures listed in the attachment and work towards producing meaningful results. Now looking at my storyboard, this is the storyboard for the Nanoscimax DEPMA application. It begins with the scientist coming to the index page to log in or register. And upon successful registration or login, the researcher is taken to the home page, which has links to logistics, research, and publications. These links they link to several pages, but they're on the home page, so it's limited there. In research, let's begin with the logistics. The researcher will be taken to the page which he will view project logistics, which include members, equipment, and materials. Those pages are read-only. They are managed by the system administrator, and they are not writable or modifiable. On publications, the researcher is taken to pages which are read-write because they can update publications. In publications have reports and then experimental result documents page. These reports are updatable to the system by scientists, therefore they can write them and they can modify them. The link from research takes us to research pages which have several pages which are well-fledged. We have protocols. Inside protocols, researcher creates and updates protocol, and we have sites. Well, these sites have got site equipment and materials, and through this, the researcher can request for materials. Now, this page is read-only. We have another page for experiments. The researcher can create and update experiments here. These are experiments carried out based on the protocols written here and following the procedures written. you can see that a researcher can create a procedure, and that procedure is based on a protocol written by one of the members. So to carry out the experiment, the researcher needs to have materials, and in case they don't have materials, they can go to the sites and then request from, they can see from the sites which sites have got enough materials, then they place the request through the basket. Then the basket will collect all those requests and send them to the site, to the requested site, so that the members in those sites will be able to manage the arrangement and assembling of the materials for postage. But also, other than using the basket, I built a quick way of placing a request where a member strictly specifies which site and which materials and quantities they need, so that they can send the request to the site, and then that site will arrange for postage. And during that time, when the request is being sent to the postage, the researcher can view the postage, can view the request and modify the quantities in case there need to be changes they need to make before postage is made. So they can view and modify the requests, and likewise here they can view and update postage status. So when the request is sent to a given site, and while the members on that site are still arranging for postage, a researcher here can interrupt the postage and place it on hold, or tell them to adjust a few things, otherwise after that they can, after arranging for postage, then the postage is sent to the requesting site, and then the requesting site will receive those materials and then be able to carry out experiments here. So that's the story of the storyboard, and let's go ahead and look at the index page. This is the index page. When a researcher visits this page, they'll be able to either log in or register in case they are not already registered. So I'm gonna use my credentials and go ahead and register this site. Sorry, login. When I log in, you'll see that I'm taken to my account. This is my home page, and I will have logistics, research, and publications. In logistics, like you saw before, we have members of the sites, we have equipment available in the project, we have materials available for the project. But to know which sites have got which equipment, we follow through the links on the serial numbers, and you'll see that certain sites have got certain equipment and in certain conditions. So these links are very helpful. We can look at materials, for example, and you look at different sites. Through material code, they'll have different materials. So these sites have got these quantities of this material. Okay, going back the home page, we visit publications first, and we see reports. These are reports written by the researchers. These links open to the experiments, the reports written from experiments, and these links, these are reports by given author. So lead author 83 has several reports they've written. Let's look at a better example, which will list several of them. Okay, like member Serena E. Rees has got this report as the author of this report. But in case they've written several reports, you'll find that several reports are written below them like this. Allegra P. Cunningham has got 2 reports. He's the lead author of these reports. So those are hyperlinks link you to the more details of this lead author and which reports they've written. And here you can add new report. Okay, we can say report name. My ID is 189. So report name, I can say David's report. And report description, we can, David's report. And you can say description, you can place it there. Report 1, you can say this is report document or PDF, is okay. And report file, you can say, right, and then you create that report. So when you go back to reports, we should be down written. Here we are, David's report 1, PDF, and I remember 189. And if you click on this, you will find that it should give you more details. There's some probably issue to clear up in the sure. But going to experimental results document, we will find that you can still here add new document name. Don't have in cache, you can say okay, report 1, just entering test values, really just for purposes of demonstration. I don't mean so much really. PDF and file, we can say maybe doc. Okay, select the name of the experiment. So here I'm assuming that this is the experiment. This experiment name, I can choose a name like, okay, you can go with this. And report name, maybe that one. And I say create. So experimental result documents, that report should be added already, and now it's here. There is report 1, that, and then this is the other details about, we have the result reports of experiment result documents, and that report is part of the reports. There is the result documents of an experiment. So having seen all we have to see in publications, let's go to research. In research, we've got these links to the several pages. The homepage, this about research, and then we have protocols. And in protocols, we have the different protocols in the project. We have several of them, but we can still add a new protocol, which we can say maybe we can call it try 1, for example. Protocol summary, we call it David's protocol. Why not? Protocol, David's protocol. And proto name, we can say that's the proto name, and then proto name, David's protocol. Proto file name, yeah, and then proto file, we can say try, it's okay. Or we can use special characters, really, because I've got master real escape characters, so I don't have a problem. I can say this file, create protocol. Error code 0, protocol was successfully created, and when you look back at the protocols, we should be able to see that protocol created here. Okay, try one, there is protocol, there is report, and this fine thing. Okay, and now we can modify that protocol by updating protocol. We pick it up and I sort it by descending a proto reference number, and therefore if you click in the drop down you see several of them, but the one I want to modify is on top. I can change the summary from whatever it was to say new new David summary, for example. And then proto file, instead of that we can say just test file. Okay, and we update. Okay, protocols, we go down and find our here new David's new David summary and David's report test file. So that illustrates that this works. And these hyperlinks, reference number hyperlink, will take you to the experiments which are conducted on that protocol or based on that protocol. For example, the using which should be able to view. For example, this has got a couple of experiments which were carried out, but based on this protocol, and these are the details of those experiments. They are initiated at this time, and experiment reference number is another hyperlink to need to fix that. Okay, here we can add a new experiment to that protocol. So experiment name, you can say David's experiment. And here we can say we have status initiated. And say create. Proto name, protocol. Which protocol is that? I'm assuming it was, I didn't see the protocol. Do I have to go back? We can pick from these protocols, I think, and then we say, yeah, we can use this and say create. We will see 103, protocol 103, and then okay, we need to see this protocols and reports. Well, for now, let's go on and test operation. So we have protocols, we have procedures. In procedures, you may add any procedure or update procedure requirements. So these are procedures, and these procedures use these materials, procedure materials on site. So when you click on this link, it takes you to availability of required procedure material on sites. So these sites have got this material and in these quantities. But for the experiment, for the procedure you've written, if that procedure requires more quantities than available quantity, then you can update the material and equipment requirements of a procedure. So if you've written a procedure and requires more than what's available, you may require a request for less. For example, we can choose one of these. For example, let me see, update. We have to look at a procedure. For example, which procedure? Like for this Faretra, Felice, Various. It's procedure number 1, and let us see. It needs materials like, okay, it requires 11 of this material, vibrancy 2B, and available quantity is 10 here. So let us see if we can update that. Procedure reference number is 1, and material code is, we say it was B and C. You can look at this one here, and then required quantity we can say, instead of 11 we can say 2, and then we can add that up, and then we go back to procedure, and then we look at the requirements previously created procedure, updated additional material. I think I was looking at the wrong thing, sorry. Yeah, you can edit the required quantity of procedure material. For example, for this procedure, we see that this the required quantity is 11, but available quantity is 10. So we can edit the required quantity here, and then it will change from 11 to whatever we want. And this is vibrancy to B, and then we need 3 instead of 11. Yeah, should work. Update. Okay, so let's go back and see what it has done for us. And yes, we have required quantity now is 3 instead of 11. Yeah, sorry about that. It was okay. So if you created this procedure already and you need to add more materials and equipment to it, you use this page. You've seen already that I've added procedures down here. I've added more of this from this site, but we can add more materials, for example. But of course, the system, the administrator will be able to add the equipment, but in case you needed to add some more equipment for that procedure, you select it. For example, this procedure, and then you say I want equipment like the analyzer, hematology, serial number that, and say I want maybe one equipment, and you add it, then it should be able to be added into the if you check on the details, it will show you that we have these are the these are not the equipment, but material details. Okay, we can have okay, these are hyperlinks to the protocols used. They are under this protocol. These are the procedures which were written based on that protocol. But you can add a new procedure onto this protocol using this. Then you add you say procedure title. Then you say maybe David. You can use mine, no problem, as many times as we want. Procedure description, David's procedure. Yeah, and then you say protocol. We can leave. We can pick from which which protocol I'm adding this procedure to. I can say that my own the protocol I created a short while ago, and then I can choose the equipment, the material I need. At least one material I need, like actors, and I need maybe 2 of those. And the equipment I need probably it's maybe a arthroscope, and I need 1 of those. And then after creating this new procedure, I can add equipment and material to that procedure because I've already created it, and I can use this page to update either material or equipment. So going on to experiments, we see that we have we can add new experiment, we can update an experiment, we can add members to experiments. So the experiment reference number, for example, this experiment 1 has got these experiment members. You can add a new member here by saying this experiment member name, and you say, for example, Barbara Cooper, and you add. So when you go back to experiment, you find that under experiment 1, you've added Barbara Cooper here down. So she's a botanist. And this experiment was done using that protocol, of course, and then procedures which followed the criteria for the above protocol are here. Okay, so we can add new procedure, like this links us to the previous page I showed you before, and report reference. These are results of the reports from that experiment. Okay, and you can add new report. So going back to research, we have experiments. Yes, now we can update an experiment by changing its status. For example, David's experiment, which was initiated, we can say that it's ongoing, and we say update, and we can say update an experiment like this late night new entry. Let us see what happens to it when say ongoing update. Okay, let's go back to experiment and see this late night thing. Yeah, ongoing. So probably there's something to do with the real escape characters I need to look up into. So having done that, we've seen how to add members, update an experiment, and add an experiment. On sites, there isn't much to change on sites, but site name, these are hyperlinks which show the site and which members are on that site. Then we have experiments on sites. Equipment, yes, we have equipment which are on that site. So that site number one, Sedgwick, has got this equipment and in these conditions, all still working, new, had new software installed. The site equipment conditions on Sedgwick, and several have got different, like this has got only that, right? So, oh, I was in materials, sorry. We have these materials, equipment on this Rigasulo site. Going on to material, site one has got these materials, and you can request for these materials through the basket. You place a request for those materials if the scientist, the researcher needed to find them and use them. So that takes us to postage. Let me go to postage before I go to request. If you needed to make an experiment and you find that you're lacking some material, so you go to this postage. They go to postage right away. No, okay. This postage, probably I should have gone to, needed to go to basket. Basket for now is empty, but you can go to sites under the material column and then request for material. You request for this material, then you can continue or create basket to place the order. If you continue requesting for materials, you take it back to sites, then you go to another site and request for the material need, and then you can place the order. When you place the order, it will be placed, okay, so that your request will be logged here down. You see member 189B placed at this time those requests for materials. So these requests will be sent to those sites which have those materials I need. So here you may make a new request for material samples or add another item to the previous request. So if I make a new, if this way, by the way, this is a very quick way of making a request other than going through the basket. I may want to make a quick request for materials. So having said that, request, I can make a new request for material samples here. So, or I can add an item to a previous request. And in here we have indicate the current status of your request. Now, of course, when you request, by default, when you request, it will be pending. So I shouldn't probably, but anyway, it should be pending because it hasn't been acted upon. Then the site, which with different amounts of materials, I made this so elaborate so that when you are picking which site to request from, you know which site has got sufficient levels or amounts of materials. For example, if you need Lepita material and you need probably less than 8, like maybe 2, 3, you can select that site and then you say I needed this repeater material, which is yeah, 103, code 103, 103, and I need only 2. Okay, so I can create that request. Okay, so if I go to request, it should be down the bottom here. Okay, and we have I can add another item to my previous request, or I can update request forwarded to my site. But before yeah, let's look at this. I make a request status update request forwarded to my site. For example, other people sent request to my site, and here you have only 2 people sent request to my site. My site is site number 1. So this member 128 sent a request to me, so I can tell them that okay, request was approved, or it was denied, or currently being processed, or withheld for some reason, it's on hold. So, and I update, and when I go to requests, I should find from that member somewhere withheld here, request withheld. Okay, so or you may please update the quantity of materials in your request. My previous request, for example, quantity 2, you remember, as for repeater, I can now say I need 5 instead of 2. Then I update that request for as long as they have not sent it to me. So I can be able to update the quantity I'm requesting for. Okay, so we've seen now we're looking at postage. Looking at postage, is there something I skipped? Yeah. Let me see. Don't have requested quantity somewhere. But anyway, you can see the requested quantity when you go back here, and instead of the previous 2, now we change to 5. They will be listed in this drop down, and you go into this value is going to the database table called request item. So let's go to our postage. Postage has got material postages to sites. So details of requests and postage, we have all these reference number, postage date, postage description, and so on. We have you can make a new postage here, add another postage item because a postage may contain more than one item, update the status of postage you prepared. Like I prepare postage and then I update these guys who are requesting from me the status, so I can keep them posted about what's going on my site regarding their postage. Or I can update the status of the postage I received. Let's go through these and see. For example, we have here currently being prepared. We have Vesna postage to be no 189 is working on Vesnica birthday post, and it's currently being prepared by member 189. Member 189 is me. You see, David Molinde. So I'm working. Yeah. Let's go back. We have David Molinde working on these postages. Okay. several of them. Yes, I'm very busy. So we can update the status of these, one of them, and say, for example, I'm working on these few, but this particular one receiver site is 34 because you see the receiver member on 35. So I pick it up and then I say packaging items, and instead of the current status currently being prepared, so I can say now I've prepared a lot, so I'm going to, it's already dispatched. I can notify listener to know that it's been dispatched in good condition, so that when they go back to postage, you'll find that the status has changed to dispatched in good condition here. Then this is the time, the date when it was dispatched in good condition. All right, and then this now will update. So if I received something, for example, from someone, then I'll be able to update them. For example, I don't know if I received something. If I go back to my postage, if I say received 189, 189 received something here, 189. No, he didn't receive. He was sending most of the time. We shall maybe log into another. But for those that received, they can now update and then say the package came and was done, or wrong delivery, they didn't receive what they really requested for. Okay, now going on to we've seen basket and how basket works. We've seen postage, how postage works, requests, yeah, and sites members. That's pretty much it. So yeah, can go back to the home page. So basically, this is how the DEPMA project works. A member carries out, they will first of all create an experiment, then add members to those experiments if they want. Sorry, they'll create a protocol. That protocol can be updated by another person. Then they can create procedures and then carry out experiments based on that procedure. And then they can request for materials from site. And we've seen there's a simpler way or a quick way of sending a request of materials from sites. You specifically indicate which site you're requesting from and indicate materials. And while the material request is currently being processed, you can add more materials to the request, provided you haven't sent it to you by post. So basically, this is how the DEPMA project protocol, sorry, the distributed experiment protocol management application DEPMA works. It was built over a couple of weeks, and therefore I'm glad to present this demonstration to you. And thank you very much. Log out and then leave this site. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. See you another time.